From the Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, over the weekend, demonstrators rallied outside Senator Susan Collins' Portland office to voice opposition against the war in Iran. Plus, Governor Janet Mills is responding to the Trump administration regarding scrutiny over alleged Maine Care fraud. We'll have more on that ahead. And Palmyra Town officials are adding the Corinna Fire Department to their fire protection plan. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. We'll probably see quite a bit of melting today with temperatures in the high 50s. Let's start off this morning by getting a first check of our forecasts. Devin Biggs joins us now.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. Some advisories posted. A small craft advisory up until Tuesday at around 8 a.m. for some active surf along the coast. And look at this, a winter storm watch up for the northern parts of the state until 11 a.m. for your Thursday. Watching for some winter weather, some freezing rain, sleet, and some snow for the northern parts of the state, and the accumulations could be rather concerning, and we'll keep an eye on that as it does develop over time. But in the meantime, we're rather quiet out there. Some clouds developing this morning, and overall a partly to mostly cloudy sky could be common across our neck of the woods today. Let's zoom things out. We're watching for some activity off toward the west and going toward the east, but overall a dry day on the way with just some passing clouds. Futurecast moving forward, we'll have some clouds and some sunshine mixed in today, clearing out later on tonight, although some clouds still mixed in, a good amount of sunshine as we do move forward into your Tuesday. So your hourly forecast moving forward today, some clouds, a little bit of sunshine, temperatures in the 50s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, a group of protesters gathered outside of Senator Susan Collins' Portland office over the weekend, voicing opposition against the ongoing war in Iran. Allison LaPierre reports.
Fighting for no war.
The conflicts that will arise from these actions are not favorable for anyone.
Dozens of protesters gathered in Portland rallying against the American-Israeli military attack on Iran.
I'm here because Americans don't want war.
Last week, the U.S. and Israel militaries launched large-scale air and missile strikes against Iran. Iran responded with missile and drone strikes across the Middle East. Here in Maine, advocates rallied outside of Senator Susan Collins' office in Portland. They showed their opposition not just to the war, but to Collins voting against the War Powers Resolution. The latter would have forced President Trump to receive congressional approval before launching more attacks against Iran.
All the service people that are put at risk, all the families torn apart, on all the people caught in the middle. The cost of it is absolutely obscene.
Among those in attendance was U.S. Senate candidate Graham Plattner. He previously served in the military before his campaign and strongly opposes the war against Iran.
We need to stand together and show the political class in this country that we are not going to stand for another foreign war.
Plattner believes the U.S. needs new foreign policies to prevent conflicts from escalating to war.
Build a foreign policy that is built around diplomacy, a foreign policy that is built around building relationships and trust around the world, not one that is built around serving the interests of those in power and with wealth in order to, frankly, start wars that cost the American taxpayer money.
And that was Allison LaPierre reporting. Senator Collins has not issued a response. Well, new details have emerged regarding the January plane crash at the Bangor International Airport after the National Transportation Safety Board released its preliminary report. The crash happened on Sunday, January 25th. It says the Bombardier Challenger 650 business jet was de-iced for 3 minutes, concluding at 7:30 p.m. While waiting for takeoff, a review of the cockpit recorder showed that the pilot and co-pilot agreed that if they waited longer than 30 minutes, they would return to the ramp to de-ice again. The report shows that the plane began taking off just shy of 7:45, only around 15 minutes after the plane was de-iced. The report also says the plane took off normally and only climbed a few dozen feet before banking right, and there was no evidence of flight control malfunction or failure. The airplane departed to the right side of runway 33 into the grass safety runway, leaving a debris field of about 1,200 feet long and 150 feet wide. Their preliminary report says there were also no evidence of a pre-impact separation from any piece of aircraft. Authorities say 6 people died in the crash, and the plane had departed Houston, Texas earlier that day and stopped in Bangor to refuel before it was supposed to make its way to an airport in France. The NTSB back in January said a final report could take 1 to 2 years to fully be released. Governor Janet Mills announced on Friday that her administration has responded to a request from the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services regarding the integrity of MaineCare, the state's Medicaid program. However, the governor warned Mainers that she anticipates retaliation from the Trump administration regardless of their findings. Our Grace Blanchard with more.
In recent months, Maine has faced intense scrutiny over alleged MaineCare fraud, and now Governor Janet Mills is responding to the Trump administration.
Maine is fighting fraud and will continue to fight fraud. Our responses make that crystal clear. And Maine will not be intimidated by the threats of a president who's using allegations of fraud as a pretext to hurt people. We will fight back.
On February 6th, the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services gave the state of Maine 30 days to answer questions about the management of Maine's Medicaid program, after a federal audit found millions in alleged improper payments. On Friday, the Mills administration sent back a nearly 50-page response, outlining actions the state has taken in recent years to increase oversight and scrutiny of Medicaid providers.
I can assure you, every time we encounter a credible suspicion of fraud, we do take action, and we refer the matter to the Attorney General's office for investigation.
Republican lawmakers have accused the Mills administration and Democrats of ignoring fraud concerns. At a press conference just days before DHHS filed its formal response, House Minority Leader Representative Billy Bob Falkingham said the problems with the MaineCare system are likely to cause a ripple effect through the state's budget.
We still have seen nothing of this in any of the budget proposals and any of the supplemental proposals, but the federal government is telling the state of Maine that almost $29 million is due back to the federal government.
Governor Mills said on Friday she believes the Trump administration's inquiry is predetermined and she is prepared for another legal battle.
If the Trump administration attempts to halt Medicaid payments, the Attorney General and I will not hesitate to see him in court to preserve critical health care for Maine people.
Grace Blanchard reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, a women's health clinic in Bangor announced it will be closing this summer due to staffing challenges, marking another loss for Maine's obstetric services. Down East OBGYN announced on Friday the practice will officially close on July 2nd. The owner, Dr. Christopher Rumsey, said in a social media post, the recent loss of 2 physician partners and a midwife has left him on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Dr. Rumsey said this decision has not been made lightly, but the level of coverage is not sustainable for long term. He also added that the primary challenge has been the inability to recruit new physicians into the private practice setting. According to its website, Down East OBGYN is the only private practice in Bangor that offers full panel obstetrical and gynecological care. And over the coming weeks, patients can expect to receive written notification of this closure. Rumsey says that he will be joining the Women's Healthcare of Maine at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center. A person was rescued by firefighters after becoming trapped in a burning home on Thursday night in Waterville. According to the Waterville Fire Department, units responded to a building fire at Washington Street shortly after 7 p.m. and found flames showing on the first floor and visible from a porch window. Neighbors alerted responders to a possible victim located behind the front door. Crews were able to remove the trapped victim, who was then transported by Delta ambulance and then flown via Lifeline to Maine Medical Center in Portland. A spokesperson for the State Fire Marshal's office says 42-year-old Lauren Slack sustained life-threatening injuries. They said an investigation determined the fire started in the living room fireplace. Investigators determined Slack applied lighter fluid, which created a flash fire that caused those injuries. They say the fire caused moderate damage to the single-family home, and several pets did die in the fire. Authorities say others survived and then were taken to Waterville Animal Control Officer to the city's Humane Society. An employee there confirmed that those animals are currently under their care. Friday was Black Balloon Day. It's a national day to remember all of the lives lost to overdose. Organizers say it's a poignant symbol of grief and hope. Northern Light Addiction Care in Bangor held a brief ceremony and a moment of silence.
Again, this hits close to home here. You know, there are many overdoses that have happened within the city of Bangor, and you know, it's important to recognize those lives that we have lost, bring meaning to them, and celebrate them today.
We've seen a steady decline in the deaths in the state of Maine. Unfortunately, we have still seen 390 deaths in this last year. So it is important to recognize that those deaths still did occur. Of those deaths, there were over 7,000 reversals, revivals, lives that were saved. So that we got to honor that, we got to recognize that.
Evans says there are more treatment options and lives are being saved every day. You can get more information by going to northernlight.org/addiction care. During the high school basketball state championships, a wall in one of the Augusta Civic Center locker rooms collapsed with players inside. Officials say it happened last weekend while they were preparing for the championship game. Fortunately, there were no serious injuries. Director of Communications and Marketing, Haley Govin, says the city's code enforcement officer has inspected other walls in the facility that were constructed similar. She says as a precaution, the locker rooms containing those walls have been temporarily closed until a structural engineer does a more detailed inspection. An engineer has been engaged to conduct a structural review, and Govin says the Civic Center is 50 years old and has never undergone a major full-scale renovation. Well, the time now is 6:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a dredging project is currently underway at Camp Ellis. We'll have more details on that coming up. But first, let's get another look at our forecast. For today, we have mostly cloudy skies with temperatures in the mid-50s. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy with temperatures dipping down to the low 30s. And for tomorrow, very nice day, mostly sunny with highs around 61. We'll be right back.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
This week on GMA, wake up with Jennifer Lopez, Jalen Hurts, The Mormon Wives, and Nicole Kidman and Jamie Lee Curtis.
I have a really good feeling about this.
I do too.
Plus, counting down to the Oscars with Conan, only on
Good Morning America.
In love with each other, wanting to start a family, and you couldn't.
It just became an emotional thing for me.
A second chance to have kids.
Mr. Batista Carter, at a very young age, had a vasectomy.
I didn't agree to any kind of vasectomy reversal without intending to be married.
But their plans didn't pan out.
Her mom did provide the money for this.
He got his plumbing fixed. They broke up.
Next, Judge Judy.
Monday at 5 on ABC 7.
ABC's David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. More Americans watch ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir than any other newscast.
A dredging project is underway in Sauco's Camp Ellis right now. The city says sand is being flushed from the Sauco River onto Sauco Beach in an effort to restore the dunes that have been washed away from storms over the years. But as Max Williams reports, this project may not even be enough to keep the area protected from future storms.
Camp Ellis has been turned into a large construction zone right now, and it's catching a lot of attention.
The equipment involved is just staggering to me.
Matthew and Angelia Yakovlev are renting here on Saco Beach for a few months. They recently got a taste of what happens here when a storm hits.
The waves were crashing over the barriers, a foot of water in front of the house. I mean, it was intense.
He's gone! Others who have lived here year-round remember the historic 2024 storm, which left several homes washed out and eroded much of the beach. The hope today is piling more sand along the shoreline will help prevent that from happening again.
Our beach here in Saco at Camp Ellis is notorious for being washed out in storms.
Crews first started pouring sand onto the beach last week. David Pendleton, the Saco Harbor Master, is keeping tabs on the progress they're making.
This project is meant to restore the beach and give us a buffer between the next storm.
Pendleton says this boat pumping the sand through the pipes is not just helping restore the dunes, but also dredge parts of the river.
We need to get our anchorages back to the adequate depth for safe navigation and the moorings of vessels.
All of this is costing the city roughly $300,000 plus some help from FEMA, but even that may not be enough.
But it's very likely, very often, that the next storm washes that all away, so it's a never-ending task. With this dredge, we get a fairly large amount that will hopefully stick around for a while.
The project is expected to be done by Tuesday.
And that was Max Williams reporting. Well, a 2-decade-old fire protection deal between two local departments ended following contract renegotiations. But a neighboring town's department has stepped up to fill in the gaps. Our Alexa Kennedy has the story.
Palmyra town officials are adding the Corinna Fire Department to their fire protection plan after ending a long-standing mutual aid contract with Newport. Not having a town fire department of its own, Palmyra has relied on Newport's emergency services for 2 decades. After a change in Newport management, the contract was revisited, and Newport doubled its asking price for emergency service coverage. Palmyra could not match those funds.
So with the ways things increase and the way the manpower is, volunteer departments are struggling right now because they don't have the personnel to cover. They really have to have a lot involved, and that's part of the reason that the budgets are going up, and that's understandable.
Newport Fire Chief Jeff Cretion says Palmyra's growing population made it difficult to operate on the original budget. Before renegotiations, Newport taxpayers were covering what Palmyra exceeded in the fire protection budget.
All of those businesses need service with EMS fire protection, and it's drastically increased our calls over the years.
Palmyra has existing fire protection deals with 3 neighboring towns that cover specific regions. Corinna agreed to cover Newport's portion.
We have 4 or 5 fire departments that are right there at an instant call. I mean, there's none of them that are more than 5 to 10 minutes away. We have probably as good, if not better, fire protection than most towns around.
Cray says the next steps to solidify Palmyra's new mutual aid plan are to get budget approvals from the 4 partnering towns. In Newport and Palmyra, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time now is 6:18. After the break, as spring break travel ramps up and the partial government shutdown is still in place, travelers are facing hours-long delays at major airports. Plus, 20 recruits became Maine State Police troopers. We'll bring you to the State Police graduation as Good Morning Maine continues.
Jamar Construction Products in Bangor continues to grow to meet our customers' needs, supplying products for site work contractors, concrete contractors, and survey and safety supplies. We are proud to be the local dealer for Hilti, Valley Blades, U.S. Fabrics, and Euclid Chemical, plus so much more. Stop by and see us at 1270 Hammond Street or give us a call at 907-4491. If you dig it, pour it, plow it, fasten it, lay it, or lift it, Jamar Construction Products can help you.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the C&R promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with C&R Carpet Cleaning.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
Maine's commercial harvesters earned more than $619 million in 2025. That's according to a preliminary data release by the Maine Department of Marine Resources. Maine lobster harvesters landed 78.8 million pounds and again topped all other fisheries with an overall value of more than $461 million. However, inflation took its toll. DMR Commissioner Carl Wilson said when adjusting for inflation, the overall value of lobster in 2025 was more in line with the value earned in 2008. Maine's soft-shell clam fishery was the state's second most valuable in 2025, with an overall value of more than $21 million. That's a jump of $6 million over 2024. The Maine legislature passed a bill in 2025 to adopt Eastern Daylight Time year-round. However, this change is contingent on federal approval. While some welcome the return of extra evening sunshine, others want to see an end to the biannual disruption. Earlier, we hit the pavement in downtown Bangor to hear some local takes on this ongoing debate.
Well, I have little kids, so I kind of agree with keeping daylight savings time just because when you fall back, if you didn't do that, it would be so dark at bus stops and for kids waiting for the bus early in the morning. So.
I come against it. Surge in over at Northern Light, and definitely it's an adjustment to get up at different times for surgeries.
I know there's no real change in how much daylight there is, but it's nice having daylight late in the afternoon again. I enjoy it.
If we want to have longer afternoons after work, maybe we should just go to work earlier. At different time on the clock,
Well, meanwhile, the Maine State Police now has 20 new troopers following the 86th annual recruit training troop graduation. Our Doug Banks takes us to Maine's Criminal Justice Academy.
This never gets old. There's a reason that we do what we do. It's for each other and it's for our communities.
20 recruits became Maine State Troopers on Friday.
Hard work and dedication to duty, remembering that every day, why you do what you do and how you conduct yourself.
Graduates of the 86th Recruit Training Troop endured an 18-week basic law enforcement training program.
And then if you're hired to be a Maine State Trooper, there's an additional 8 weeks. Maine State Police have done an amazing job recruiting over the last few years.
The ones who were celebrated and honored included some who were not in the room.
The most special to me is just seeing the fallen trooper chairs set out with their pictures, remembering the legacy that came before you.
All 12 of the troopers that lost their life in a line of duty are all honored individually. And then there's a flag that actually has a banner for each one of those lost along the way. If we're not honoring those that went before us, either retirees or certainly those that were fallen, then we're quite frankly doing it wrong.
My dad was in the state police since 1995. I was always raised with the importance of giving back to the community, service, so just a way that you can be a part of something bigger than yourself.
I hope that they do look at that family atmosphere as a reality. I hope they feel that, not just hear it, but feel it.
At the Maine Criminal Justice Academy in Vassalboro, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time now is 6:23. Let's get a full look at our forecast. Meteorologist Evan Biggs is in with the latest.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Advisories posted. We have a small craft advisory up along the coast until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. We also have a winter storm watch that is up for the northern parts of the state until 11 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday. Freezing rain, sleet, and snow, the primary concerns for the northern parts of the state, and we will need to watch that very closely as it does develop over time, as it will cause some concerns. Again, we do have some time to keep an eye on that. But in the meantime, wave heights at around 3 feet, while further off towards the east, a little more active at around 5 to even 7 feet at this moment in time. Meanwhile, just some clouds tracking from the west and going toward the east, and overall a mostly cloudy sky expected today, and we will get some sunshine peeking out from time to time too. The winds will be rather gusty at around 30 miles per hour too. Now there is a system off toward the west. We will stay dry today with just the clouds passing through, and that's about it. So here's the primary concern. So today and tomorrow we will stay dry. The concerns will kick in as we head towards Tuesday night and the parts of Wednesday. A little bit of activity moving in. It's the northern parts of the state at this moment in time. We'll have to watch for that wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Farther down toward the south, primarily all rain. We'll see that play out. Probably some significant ice concerns there that we'll need to keep an eye on. Possibly a quarter of an inch will play out there. It will get out of here as we head towards your Thursday, and that system will track off towards the east. Again, we'll keep an eye on accumulation potentials as we get closer. But mid-50s today, mostly cloudy and windy, and that south wind at around 30 miles per hour. Overnight, low 30s, partly cloudy and breezy, and that southwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, low 60s, that'll be nice, mostly sunny, and that south wind at around 5 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast, brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Wednesday, that wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow with highs in the low 40s, then low 50s for your Thursday with a chance for rain showers, and mostly cloudy for your Friday, highs in the mid-30s.
Main traditions you gotta do. Catch a sunrise from atop Cadillac Mountain, dig into baked beans at a community supper, and visit the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show. Make plans now for the 86th Eastern Maine Sportsman Show at the University of Maine in Orono, March 20th to 22nd. Come see all kinds of exhibitors and programs, from archery to fly tying, to hunting to fishing. Everything you need to enjoy Maine and the outdoors is at the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show, March 20th to 22nd at the University of Maine in Orono. Make it your...
Come in and visit AMHG Works, Bangor's #1 gift shop, located at 36 Springer Drive in the Rennie's Plaza. We have special gifts for you, your furry companion, and that special someone you are in need of a gift for. It's worth a trip in for unique American-made gifts. Here at AMHG Works, everything is American-made, and we are open 7 days a week for your convenience. American-made home goods. We look forward to seeing you.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. A son of the Ayatollah who was killed at the start of the war will now run Iran, even after President Trump dismissed him as an unacceptable replacement for his father. Iran is still taking aim at U.S. allies across the Middle East. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the UAE all reporting incoming drones and missiles overnight. ABC's Marcus Moore joins us and has the latest.
This morning, 9 days after the killing of Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei, his son has been named Iran's new supreme leader. Mojtaba Khamenei is expected to maintain the hardline regime his father created. President Trump has called the 56-year-old, quote, an unacceptable choice to lead Iran, overnight saying simply, quote, we'll see what happens.
They don't intend to bow to the United States pressure to change the regime.
Hours before the Ayatollah's successor was announced, President Trump insisted he needed to approve the next Iranian leader, or, quote, he's not going to last long. Trump is now considering sending U.S. special forces into Iran to seize the country's nuclear stockpile.
We wouldn't do it now. Maybe we'd do it later.
U.S. Central Command now confirms a 7th American service member has died in this conflict after being wounded during an Iranian attack on a base in Saudi Arabia last week. Iran continues to pound its Persian Gulf neighbors. This government building in Kuwait on fire after being hit by an Iranian drone. In Bahrain, dozens injured in attacks and a desalination plant was hit. Desalination plants are essential for providing water to much of the Middle East. Meanwhile, Israel is targeting energy infrastructure inside Iran. This attack on an oil depot in Tehran sent poisonous fumes into the air for miles. It comes as Russia is reportedly providing Iran with intelligence to target U.S. forces, including the locations of troops, aircraft, and ships. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth downplaying the threat. President Trump, in the meantime, has demanded Iran's unconditional surrender, leading many to question what surrender would look like. Secretary Hegseth saying this.
Now, whether they will have a ceremony in Tehran Square and surrender, that's up to them. Whether they know it or not, they will be combat ineffective. They will surrender.
Overnight here in Doha, emergency alerts went out to cell phones again, and soon after we heard the now familiar sound of booms over the city. Qatar saying they intercepted another missile attack from Iran, and right now renewing their call for an end to this war. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Doha.
Now to the financial impact of the war in Iran. Oil prices soaring overnight and stocks plunging. Here's ABC's Allison Cossack.
This morning, the war in Iran is fueling another spike in energy prices.
From $40 to fill up my tank, I paid $72 to fill up my tank, and it's a 4-cylinder car.
Gas prices are up 47 cents per gallon in the last week to a national average of $3.45. Diesel prices climbing even faster, which could mean higher shipping rates. And more expensive jet fuel means airfares could be taking off.
Are you worried about gas prices right now?
No. This is a short excursion into something that should have been done for 47 years.
President Trump describing higher fuel prices as a sacrifice, calling short-term oil prices a very small price to pay for safety and peace. But overnight, oil prices topped $100 per barrel, the highest level in nearly 4 years, as the Iran conflict cripples exports. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling on President Trump to tap into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but experts say a release would not have much impact on prices. Economists looking at the big picture say high energy costs, coupled with a weakening jobs market, could spell trouble ahead.
What workers are dealing with is an insecurity in their jobs at the same time that the effects of inflation over the course of 5 years have compounded. Now we've got in front of us a war, or certainly ongoing strikes in Iran, and that has boosted oil prices, which is creating another whole level of uncertainty.
Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
We turn now to long waits at the airport. Spring break season is here, and there is an extra challenge this year. ABC's Hannah Battah has more.
This morning, as spring break travel ramps up, chaos at multiple U.S. airports. Travelers facing hours-long delays during this partial government shutdown. Funding for the Homeland Security Department, which includes the TSA, expired last month, meaning TSA officers, for the second time in 6 months, are being forced to work without pay, prompting more agents to call out sick. That's causing delays of up to 3 hours in security lines, including here in Houston.
We got here at 10 a.m. My flight was departing at 1:50, and we're not going to make that here.
The guy said to me, heads up, it's a mess down there. And man, he was right.
In New Orleans, lines stretched through multiple floors and into the parking garage. The disruptions come as airlines brace for a 4% increase in spring break travelers compared to last year. That's nearly 3 million passengers expected each day. The partial government shutdown stems from a standoff in Congress. Democrats are demanding changes to immigration enforcement before they approve new Homeland Security funding. An organization representing airlines is urging Congress and the administration to negotiate a deal, saying America's transportation security workforce is too important to be used as political leverage. But now, a possible new logjam in Congress. President Trump says he won't sign any new bills into law until the Senate approves the SAVE Act. That's a bill that would require people show proof of citizenship and a photo ID in order to vote. Democrats claim it'll lead to voter suppression. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
Now to Southern California and the emergency of the outside of a pop star's mansion. ABC's Sophie Flay with the story.
Terrifying moments at the home of singer Rihanna. Authorities say the 38-year-old superstar was home in her Beverly Hills mansion when a woman drove up to the house and opened fire.
2 shootings just occurred, approximately 10 shots heard. EPR believes the shots came from across the street.
Officers say a woman in a Tesla started shooting an AR-style weapon around 1:15 in the afternoon. Multiple bullet holes visible in the side of Rihanna's home. We're told none of the bullets penetrated.
Suspect number 1 is a female Hispanic, blonde hair, 30 years.
Police using a helicopter to quickly identify the car and followed the driver to a local mall.
Servers out of the vehicle, units are approaching the vehicle.
Copy that. 1 suspect in custody.
Officers then taking the suspect into custody without incident. It's unclear if Rihanna's 3 young children or her partner, A$AP Rocky, were also home. A$AP Rocky was acquitted of 3 criminal charges last year after being accused of firing shots at his former friend, A$AP Rocky.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, Special Olympics took place in Belfast with athletes taking a dive into the swimming competitions. This and more as Good Morning Maine continues.
Tired of worrying whether your credit will hold you back from getting a car? At Down East Credit Union, we believe everyone deserves reliable transportation, even with less than perfect credit. Let us guide you every step of the way. If your credit score is under 670 or you've had setbacks like bankruptcy or repossession, that doesn't mean you're out of options. We'll help you get pre-approved, guide you through car shopping, and work with you on a plan to rebuild your credit. Reach out to Down East Credit Union today. Let's get you on the road confidently.
ABC 7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling Maine stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Fox 22.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Now let's turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. Some advisories posted. A small craft advisory up until Tuesday at around 8 a.m. for some active surf along the coast. And look at this, a winter storm watch up for the northern parts of the state until 11 a.m. for your Thursday. Watching for some winter weather, some freezing rain, sleet, and some snow for the northern parts of the state, and the accumulations could be rather concerning, and we'll keep an eye on that as it does develop over time. But in the meantime, we're rather quiet out. There are some clouds developing this morning, and overall a partly to mostly cloudy sky could be common across our neck of the woods today. Let's zoom things out. We're watching for some activity off toward the west and going toward the east, but overall a dry day on the way with just some passing clouds. Futurecast moving forward, we'll have some clouds and some sunshine mixed in today, clearing out later on tonight, although some clouds still mixed in, a good amount of sunshine as we do move forward into your Tuesday. So your hourly forecast moving forward today, some clouds, a little bit of sunshine, temperatures in the 50s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. Well, the Winter Olympics in Italy may be over, but the competition is still going strong for Olympic athletes here in Maine. In fact, over 50 swimmers recently participated in the Special Olympics in Belfast. Our Jody Hersey takes us there.
This is the best day of the year.
Athletes poured into the Belfast YMCA for the 2026 Knox-Waldo County Regional Special Olympics swim meet on Friday.
We practice a lot at swimming.
Take your mark.
State and local police, firefighters, game wardens, and so many other fans turned out at the event to celebrate these athletes and all their hard work.
Any day we can spend with Special Olympic athletes is our favorite day of the year. The excitement and the joy and the camaraderie that all the athletes share is contagious.
Swimmers from 6 to 69 years of age competed in short distance floating and swimming events, as well as 100-yard relays with members of the Unified Swim Team. Samantha Herring of Thomaston trained for 2 events.
A 25-yard freestyle and a 25-yard breaststroke.
Which one's your favorite?
The freestyle.
Organizers say every Special Olympics athlete, no matter where they placed, is worthy of praise.
If you are an athlete, you want to participate, come on out. If you're a volunteer, we are always welcome and we'd love to have you.
In Belfast, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports. Don't go away.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Little Miss Davis Sweets and Treats, a home-based business that specializes in homemade baked goods. Everything I bake is made to order. I specialize in baking homemade fudge, brownies, cupcakes, giant cookies, and large gingerbread men.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Are you in need of remodeling your bathroom? Want to convert your tub into a safe walk-in shower? Call the experts at Bangor Bathrooms by Design now. They offer complete bathroom remodels, and from start to finish, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call them now and save thousands. 659-6457. Enjoy that brand new bathroom you've always wanted from Bangor Bathrooms by Design. Transforming bathrooms, elevating lives.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb
named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start with the Maine men's basketball team who traveled down to Newark to play NJIT in the America East quarterfinal on Saturday. Getting things started, check out this ball movement. Ryan Mabry finds Ace Flagg. Ace Flagg is going to get a quick pass to TJ Beal underneath the rim, and he finishes off for 2. Then racing down the court are the Highlanders. David Bolden, he kicks the ball out to a wide open Quentin Duncan, and he jacks it up and puts it down for 3. But the Black Bears respond, and how about a nice three-point shot from Ace Flagg on the wing? Contested shot goes for Flagg, but Maine still trails by 3 at the half. Fast forward to a minute left. Jordan Rogers finds Ari Fulton underneath for this slam and the lead. Now it's the Highlanders up 2 with 18 seconds left. Maine inbounding. It's Logan Carey finds it. He finds Flagg. Flagg fakes, puts it up, and ties the game. And the Highlanders are going to have one more chance to win. Fulton, he's on the drive. He spots up, fades, and hits it with less than half a second to go, and Maine loses a heartbreaker 60-58. All right, now time to bring you the last high school basketball action of the season. The McDonald's All-Star Game was held on Saturday, and we caught the Class C, D, and S action to bring to your living rooms. Getting things started early in the afternoon, it was the North girls facing the South girls. The South puts up the first points of the game when Caitlin Frost of Monmouth lays it in for the easy take at the net. Then Miss Maine runner-up Addison Sear recovers the board under the net. She puts it back up for 2 and 1. She was doing that all day long. Next up, Bangor Christian's Mary Allen. What else do I have to say? She knocks down the triple. No surprise there. The North was rolling, and Megan House finds Desiree Adams under the net for 2 more points. End of the half, this one goes back to Mary Allen, and again she's got it from outside, picking up right where she left off. And she'll close out in the second half as well. This quick transition play all the way to the rack as the North wins 100-69. Next up, it's the boys, North versus South. Another great matchup in this one. This one starts with a bang as Dorigo's Brady Philbrick puts down the three-pointer for the opening points. No shortage of points today. Immediately after, Machias senior Mickey Fitzsimons knocks down a tray of his own, tying the game. We stay outside the line. This time, Austin Armandi out of Spruce Mountain loads up and cashes in for this wing three-pointer. And then Halldale's Tyshawn Cleveland does the same thing. We go back and forth from 3. Tight game in the first half. End of the half approaching. Tobias Nariana helps the North to pull ahead with this sick jumper for 2. And then he's on the receiving end of this sick pass under the net. 2 more to add to the score. Lastly, Fitzsimons helps put the game out of reach with another big three-pointer. The North sweeps all 4 games today as they win this one 116-101. Transitioning to the NFL now, the new league year is about to begin on March 11th, and that means trades are already being made. And we've had some big ones already, so let's go ahead and go through them. Starting with the breaking news coming in on Friday night, superstar defensive end Max Crosby has been traded from Las Vegas to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for 2 first-round picks. Baltimore has been extremely desperate for a consistent pass rush, and this should certainly help to fix that issue. Earlier this week, the Lions traded away running back David Montgomery to the Houston Texans in exchange for a 4th-round pick in this year's draft and a 7th in next year's. Montgomery will likely be taking on the starting role in Houston with the expected release of Joe Mixon. And then our first real blockbuster of the year came earlier this week as the Kansas City Chiefs have traded away 2-time All-Pro cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for the 29th overall pick this year, 2 additional late-round picks, and another in 2027. This one came as a surprise to fans everywhere as the Chiefs have already been thin at the position, but now hold 2 first-rounders this year. And then on Thursday, the Buffalo Bills traded for the Chicago Bears wide receiver DJ Moore, who had great stints in both Carolina and Chicago. Buffalo gave up a 2nd-rounder in this year's draft with the hope that Moore will provide Josh Allen with his much-needed downfield threat in 2026. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
We all have a friend who loves the McDonald's hot, crispy Filet-O-Fish. My friend, you could be that friend.
Choose between 2 Filet-O-Fish and 2 10-piece McNuggets, or mix and match for $6.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond Lumber Company. Bring in your ideas or get inspired by Hammond's extensive showroom displays. Your Hammond sales rep will help you create a materials list and cost estimate, and Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Your new kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
When the unexpected happens.
Really?
We'll get you running again. Uninterrupted. Together, we're united. United Ag and Turf, your local John Deere dealer.
With McValue at McDonald's. Get deals that keep the party going.
It only takes $5 to fire up the flavor with the hot and spicy McChicken. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back, everyone. Alaska's legendary Iditarod Sled Dog Race kicked off on Saturday. The 1,000-mile race marking its 54th running. Snow was falling in Anchorage as 37 teams mushed through Alaska's largest city in front of thousands of cheering race fans downtown.
It means everything to me to defend the title. It means I have it, you know. It means I achieved my biggest goal in life, but we're not done, you know. I just want to try to keep pushing myself to do great things, to bring my best foot forward every single day, and, you know, be a role model for young people in not only Alaska and the whole wide world, that, you know, you put your best foot forward every day and, you know, good things happen.
The route takes them over 2 mountain ranges, with the winner expected to reach the city of Nome sometime during the week of March 16th. Now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Advisories posted. We have a small craft advisory up along the coast until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. We also have a winter storm watch that is up for the northern parts of the state until 11 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday. Freezing rain, sleet, and snow, the primary concerns for the northern parts of the state, and we will need to watch that very closely as it does develop over time, as it will cause some concerns. Again, we do have some time to keep an eye on that. But in the meantime, wave heights at around 3 feet, while further off towards the east, a little more active at around 5 to even 7 feet at this moment in time. Meanwhile, just some clouds tracking from the west and going toward the east, and overall a mostly cloudy sky expected today, and we will get some sunshine peeking out from time to time too. The winds will be rather gusty at around 30 miles per hour too. Now there is a system off toward the west. We will stay dry today with just the clouds passing through, and that's about it. So here's the primary concern. So today and tomorrow we will stay dry. The concerns will kick in as we head towards Tuesday night and the parts of Wednesday. A little bit of activity moving in. It's the northern parts of the state at this moment in time. We'll have to watch for that wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Farther down toward the south, primarily all rain. We'll see that play out. Probably some significant ice concerns there that we'll need to keep an eye on. Possibly a 1/4 of an inch will play out there. It will get out of here as we head towards your Thursday, and that system will track off towards the east. Again, we'll keep an eye on accumulation potentials as we get closer. But mid-50s today, mostly cloudy and windy, and that south wind at around 30 miles per hour. Overnight, low 30s, partly cloudy and breezy, and that southwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, low 60s, that'll be nice, mostly sunny, and that south wind at around 5 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Wednesday, that wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow with highs in the low 40s, then low 50s for your Thursday with a chance for rain showers, and mostly cloudy for your Friday, highs in the mid 30s.
At the County Federal Credit Union, we value the trust our members place in us to act in their best interest. Whether it's providing low rates on consumer loans or raising money to end hunger, we work hard to serve our members and the communities in which they live. We are excited to bring the meaningful and impactful work we do to all Mainers as we continue to grow. Wherever you are in life's journey, count on the county to be your financial partner.
Davis Brothers Furniture is expanding. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest, and we are now proud to offer flooring for your home, featuring both carpeting and luxury vinyl flooring. We even have an installer in-house with over 30 years of experience. Come see the reason people have been traveling from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford for decades. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different, delivering statewide.
Maine's rivers, our lakes, our life-giving wells. To ensure that our water supply remains clean and safe, Senator Susan Collins is leading the fight to protect this vital resource. She delivered millions to upgrade Maine's drinking water and wastewater infrastructure, keeping the quality of water as precious as Maine itself. So raise a glass and thank Senator Susan Collins for her leadership that goes beyond politics.
My name's RJ Decker. I'm a private investigator. I am this close to proving it was a murder for hire. Do not go well.
RJ Decker, Tuesday on ABC and stream on Hulu. Judge Judy never misses a beat.
This is my playpen.
Let me stop you.
Don't stop me ever. Is not an answer. I love this job.
Judge Judy.
Weekdays at 5 on ABC 7.
Community members attended a special dinner at the Cross Insurance Center in Bangor in honor of the Islamic holiday Ramadan. Guests gathered to attend the second annual Community Ramadan Iftar dinner on Friday evening. They broke the daily Ramadan fast at sunset and then shared an evening of food, fellowship, and cultural connection. Ramadan is a holiday that is marked worldwide with fasting, prayer, and gratitude. The event was open to people of all faiths and backgrounds in the hopes of not just sharing a meal, but also bringing neighbors together.
A very sacred and a spiritual month, a time for community, a time for spirituality, really a lot of reflection, a lot of getting together with loved ones, and we thought what better way to celebrate than to bring people of this community together and really across the state as well.
And what we really want to focus on is bringing different faiths together because we can all get along, we can all have a good time together, we can break bread together. This is what we need in this time.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22. Have a great day, everyone.
Spring is here, and so are huge savings on all your favorite brands, including Benjamin Moore paints and Hunter Douglas shades. Color Concepts, 840 Hammond Street, Bangor.
I got hurt by a big truck. Why did I call the twos? Because life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money, and I'll fight to get it for you. We got a client who broke multiple bones in a commercial vehicle accident, $700,000. Another client had a brain injury, and we got them $1.15 million. If you get hurt by a big truck, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
Whether you can pinpoint the problem or can't quite put your finger on it, the friendly professionals from Coastal Auto Parts can help point you in the right direction. With Maine's largest network of parts, you can trust your vehicle will have what it needs to get you to the moments that matter most. Because Napa knows the keys to a winning team. With 30 locations in Maine, Coastal Auto Parts helps keep our communities running with quality parts and helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Spring is here, and so are huge savings on all your favorite brands, including Benjamin Moore paints and Hunter Douglas shades. Color Concepts, 840 Hammond Street, Bangor.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. New leader for Iran as oil and gas prices soar. President
Worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, over the weekend, demonstrators rallied outside Senator Susan Collins' Portland office to voice opposition against the war in Iran. Plus, Governor Janet Mills is responding to the Trump administration regarding scrutiny over alleged MaineCare fraud. We'll have more on that ahead. And Palmyra Town officials are adding the Corinna Fire Department to their fire protection plan. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. We'll probably see quite a bit of melting today with temperatures in the high 50s. Let's start off this morning by getting a first check of our forecast. Devin Biggs joins us now.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Monday.